What is it like living in Bradford? There are many reasons why living in Bradford is a desirable option for people of all ages and backgrounds, including families and those with children. The availability of desirable and cost-effective housing solutions is at the top of the priority list. There are viable choices available, whether one is looking to purchase or rent a home. Houses in Bradford may be purchased for as little as £50,000, making the city appealing to many first-time purchasers. This is particularly true for those who must commute to Leeds for employment. Want to know what it's like living in Bradford? Watch this video till the end to get some idea. The past of Bradford and its development. Bradford, the third largest city in Yorkshire, is located in the eastern foothills of the Pennines and is situated between the main towns of Leeds and Manchester. Bradford is known as the gateway to the Pennines. Bradford, along with a number of other cities and villages in the north, came to the attention of people all over the world as a centre of the textiles industry. Bradford became especially well known for its wool goods. As a consequence of this, Bradford came to be regarded as the wool capital of the world, or simply as the Wool City. However, unlike many other northern towns, Bradford did not avoid the deindustrialisation that occurred around the middle of the 20th century. As a result, the city saw an increase in both poverty and joblessness. Despite this, the city has been the recipient of major investments, and as a result, its economy now plays a vital role within the Yorkshire and Humber area. Bradford's industry made it an appealing site for many individuals looking to immigrate to the United Kingdom in the 20th century, with the 1950s witnessing a significant influx of people from Bangladesh and Pakistan. Because of this, Bradford has become a multicultural thawing pot, with 1 in every 1 in 4 residents characterising themselves as being of Asian or Asian British ethnic background, whereas in the rest of England, less than 1 in 10 individuals on average describe themselves as having Asian or Asian British racial background. The city of Bradford is known for having some of the best restaurants and takeaways serving cuisine from all over the world due to the diverse population that resides there. It is often considered too as the curry capital of the UK, which is a far more enticing moniker than wool capital, in our opinion. You shouldn't put all of your faith in what you read. Let's get right down to business and talk about Bradford's reputation right now. Bradford has a slight problem with its image, and for whatever reason, it has gotten a reputation of being an unduly terrible place to reside. These charges are sometimes false, but the city's image is far more negative than the actual situation warrants. What are the characteristics of good and bad? Living in Bradford is like living in every other location in the United Kingdom in that it has its fair share of problems. There is both good and evil in any situation. What counts is how you choose to respond to the challenges you face. The vast majority of individuals who are now living in Bradford would gladly concur that, on the whole, Bradford is a wonderful place to live because of its convenient location, rich cultural offerings, world-famous cuisine, and of course, its very reasonable housing alternatives. Bradford's thriving artistic and cultural scene. Bradford is now in the race to be the city of culture for the United Kingdom as a result of the vibrant arts and cultural sector that can be found there. Cartwright Hall Art Gallery, that can be found in Lister Park and features the Bradford-born David Hockney Gallery, is one of the many places that can be visited in Bradford if you want to immerse yourself in some of the city's rich arts and culture. Other options include the Bradford Museum and Art Gallery and the City Art Gallery. Impressions Gallery in Bradford is one of the city's numerous modern photography galleries. The venue often plays home to a variety of activities, including exhibits and seminars. City of Film. Bradford was the very first city in the world to be designated a UNESCO City of Film, so it is only natural that the city's National Science and Media Museum would include a film collection. It has archives of photography, film and digital content that are among the finest in the world. The everlasting exhibit known as Wonder Lab is an amazing dynamic display of light and music that fascinates individuals of a wide range of ages. Alhambra Theatre. The Alhambra Theatre is indeed the place to go if you are searching for a night of humour, dance and performances. It is a top destination for many small tour organisations, including Disney, the Northern Ballet, Matthew Bourne, as well as the Royal Shakespeare Company, to mention a few. If you are seeking a venue to spend the evening, the Alhambra Theatre is indeed the place to do it though. Art spaces. Lastly, but certainly not least, you may experience another little piece of art, literature and heritage all within one visit to St George's Venue. That is the oldest music hall in the UK that is still in service and has just had a restoration that cost several millions of pounds. Bradford's housing costs and expenses. Over the course of the prior year, 2,290 purchasers in Bradford paid a total of £147,661 for the properties they purchased on average. This is far lower than the current average in the UK, which sits at £250,000 and is less than £100,000. It is now estimated by Zoopla that the average value is somewhat lower than that number, coming in at £147,039. The price has gone up by an incredible 10.31% over the course of the last year, making for a highly favourable shift in value for those who want to be living in Bradford. The city of Bradford's intolerance. What exactly is the reality? The lack of available jobs and money for people living in Bradford, along with the growing racial divide caused by rising segmentation among white and Asian populations, contributed to the escalation of hostility and fury and ratcheted up the level of racial tension. The rise of far-right organisations such as the National Front, the NF, and the British National Party, the BNP, coincided with economic hardship and contributed to the fragmentation of communities. During this time, young British Pakistanis were increasingly experiencing the bigotry that had been internalised by the very first generation of immigrants. This was especially the case as a result of police abuse in the form of stop-and-search procedures. In 1995, young people of Asian descent in Bradford, England, engaged in disorderly behaviour that was an omen of things to come. It was a feeling of unfairness that infuriated Bradford's young Muslims in 2001, and it is still responsible for many of them harbouring resentment and hostility toward authority today. At how their ancestors were regarded as residents of a lower class, how they were forced to work long hours for poor money, and how they were forced to take racial remarks with stride. And at how the younger generation, which had little hope of finding jobs of their own, was consistently berated and bullied by their own law enforcement. Because their own police force did not do enough to exert pressure on the far right, the youth felt that it was their responsibility to police matters themselves. The uprisings were a battle cry against inequity and generations of racist behaviour that the elder generation had endured, but that the younger generation's children could no longer tolerate. The previous generation had taken the abusive behaviour, but the youngsters never could. Even today, some segments of the British media may be fixated on the notion that Bradford has neighbourhoods that white people should avoid at all costs. Nevertheless, this is more of a problem with segregation than with neighbourhoods that white people should avoid entering at their own risk. Nevertheless, back in 2001, Bradford did have sections that were off-limits to Muslims for danger of being assaulted by white bigots. These were the regions where Bradford's no-go regions were located. Is it a dangerous place to reside in Bradford? The answer to the question, is Bradford safe, might be a deciding factor for many people about whether or not they relocate there. Bradford is regarded as the most dangerous city to live in the UK. You should make every effort to keep your residence and your valuables as safe as possible. For further information on how to maintain the safety of your home, have a look at our guide on home security here. Travelling in Bradford. Because of the city's excellent road and rail connections, getting about Bradford is not too difficult. Bradford's primary transportation provider is First Bus, and the Bradford Interchange serves as the terminal for National Express coaches entering and exiting the city. The Bradford Interchange and the Bradford Forster Square train stations are the city's two most important rail hubs. From these stations, you may travel to destinations all around the UK, including London and Manchester. There is another train line that is more local, and it will take you around the surrounding districts of Bradford, such as Keighley, Shipley and Bingley, for example. Airport very close to Bradford. Leeds. When residing in or travelling to Bradford, the most convenient airport for you to use is Bradford Airport, LBA. Only 11 kilometres or 7 miles separated from the city of Bradford itself, and it serves over 70 locations throughout the United Kingdom and the European Union. Bradford's educational facilities. There are 201 primary institutes, 59 secondary schools, including 48 schools and colleges that give education to students aged 16 to 18 years old in the city of Bradford, so you won't have any trouble finding a school for your kids if you want to live there. As was said before, Bradford is home to a significant number of schools that have received the outstanding grade from Ofsted. Surprisingly, there are a total of 30 schools and institutions in the area that have accomplished this feat. Nevertheless, there are a total of 33 schools and colleges that were given the grade of requires improvement, while there are a total of 8 colleges and schools that were given the grade of inadequate. University of Bradford. The University of Bradford can be found in the heart of the city and provides a diverse selection of programs that are designed to meet the educational needs of almost any student. These programs include attributed AI, chemistry, maternity care, nursing science, diagnostic imaging, social sciences, and many others. Notwithstanding what the media says about one of Britain's fastest-growing cities, Bradford surely is on a progressive trajectory with a relatively robust education system and a talented, diverse pool of inhabitants. It may not be as easy to live in Bradford as in other parts of the UK, but the art, heritage, education offered by the historical city represents nothing but resilience and a brighter future. Thank you for watching this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment, and turn on the notification bell. This is Learning Canteen.